Hello and welcome to the China Repair Studio. So today I thought we would sand the hat from Dick Turpin here. Now on my previous video we did actually put some milliput and shaped some milliput onto his hat. There was a piece missing here, so filled in the missing piece, and so I thought today we'd just sand him ready for painting. Now what you need is some sandpaper. This is a German brand, I think. Yes, it's made in Germany, and I just keep it all in a bag here, so I know where everything is. Now they come in certain grades, and you may have seen it on a previous tutorial of the grades. So here we are with an 800. Now this is wet and dry sandpaper, it's called. So that's an 800, and it's very coarse. And then they sort of go up in order. So you've got 800, which is very coarse, and then sort of midway you've got, say, 320, slightly finer, all the way up to, I think, 1200, yes, which is very fine. And then to finish off, I like to use an easy mesh, which is more fabric, and that's with a 1200, and that just leaves it almost so it's like glass, so it's really nice and smooth, ready for painting. Right, so what I've done is I have put some kitchen roll. You could use kitchen roll or just a cover, just something to protect your surface with. And I've made sure, I know it sounds silly, but you do need to make sure your hands are very clean, because you're going to be, you know, touching where he is to make sure it's all nice and smooth, and you don't want to be transferring any dirt from your fingers onto the milliput, because that'd be very hard to get rid of, and it wouldn't be so good with the painting. So with his hat, what I'm going to do first is go up quite high. I don't want to use the 180, I think that might be a bit too much. So I'll go to, I think, a 240. We'll see how a 240 is. So again, it's at the back. So I like to just tear a bit off. So if you just rip a piece off. I do try to keep them in order. It doesn't always work, but if you can keep them in an order. Right, so here we are. So with this one, I'm just going to start maybe on the top and just sand him. Now it's really important when you sand with your sandpaper not to go towards from the milliput to the head, because then you would end up with a large ridge, because then you would find a ridge there. So you need to work away from the original onto the milliput. As you see, his head starting to get there. And then I can see the line there, and you just keep working this. Again, now and again, if you can just touch it, close your eyes maybe, and feel if there's any ridges. Again, this is quite a coarse one. Now, it's a slight angle here, so sometimes if you know, if you can just fold the sandpaper slightly and just shape it to where it needs to be shaped, it's really useful. Don't always have it flat, because you could end up with a big ridge. Another thing you could do when you have sort of an area like this which is slightly indented is you could take something such as a Q-tip or a cocktail stick. I'll demonstrate with the Q-tip actually. So I've got a Q-tip here. You could actually roll it round the Q-tip, the sandpaper, like so, and then you've got a nice tight bend there, and you can hold on to it, and then just with the sandpaper you can hold on and really get in there. This is very useful, particularly if you've got slightly larger fingers and you have something where you've got to go right in. So he's starting to take shape now. I can see here I've got a little bit of gilding, so I'll avoid that. And then once you think you've got your shape, I can then go on to a lower, or actually a higher grade. So then I'd like to go on to a 600, I think. So looking at my ones there, again, I'll just take off a little bit. Again, I like to start from the top. Again, going against his head onto the milliput, and just gently sand. And just get a feel for the hat and how it would be. And then again on here. Because I shaped the milliput to the hat, I haven't got too much sanding to do. If I'd put a blob on there, it would take me so much more time by having to sand the shape in. But because I moulded it to the shape of his head, the sanding is a lot quicker and easier. Right, it's coming together. A little bit more there. And then I can see just a bit here. So again, if I get, and just sand again towards the milliput, the pressure towards the milliput. Don't do it onto the original, otherwise you end up with a ridge. Remember to look at it in all different directions to make sure there's no ridges, that you're quite happy. And then once I'm happy with the 600, I'd then work my way up onto a higher grade. So for instance, I've done the 600, so I would then go up to an 800, and then I would finish off probably with up to the 1000 would be my last one on the wet and dry paper. So for instance, I will then take the 1200 and start to just finish off this. Makes it very nice and smooth. And just feel it. It's almost feeling like glass now, which is great. And then again, I will just finish off on here. And then a little bit more on here. I can feel by touching it needs a little bit more, but just for the sake of the video, I'll just slightly fast forward it onto this. So again, working against, smoothing it out, making sure there's no ridges. You want it to blend in seamlessly. Well, that's looking pretty good. It's almost there. A little bit more on this side. So then once I've quite happy with his hat and the shape, and it feels good and it feels there's no ridges, the last thing I would do would be to use the Easy Mesh, the fabric. Now this is a 1200, and you just take a little piece, you don't rip it off, you just hold a bit, and then I would just smooth it out. And it will just smooth out any last bits of imperfections, and it almost makes it shiny. So it is so smooth. Again, you get your finger into where, if there's any little nooks and crannies there. If you can't, pencil or cocktail stick or just something you can use. And I'll just give it a final rub to make it nice and smooth. So there we are, that's sand in the hat, ready for painting. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial again. If you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe, please like and please share. And I will see you in the next one where we'll paint the hat. Okay, bye.